What's good guys, my name is Matt Games, welcome to another Overwatch video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the top 10 common mistakes McCree players make. Now, whether you're a new McCree player or an experienced McCree player, I think this video could help you in some way. As a top 500 McCree main myself, I sometimes see myself making these mistakes all the time. So, make sure you avoid these mistakes to improve your gameplay. Anyways, if you guys end up enjoying this video, be sure to remember to like this video because that will let me know to upload more top 10 videos like this. And subscribe for more Overwatch videos on my channel. Anyways, with that being said, let us start on the video. Alright, the first common mistake I see McCree players make is forgetting to use combat roll. Now, if you're a new McCree player, combat roll as an ability itself, yeah, it does seem pretty kinda useless at first. Maybe not great for McCree mobility. I mean, it's better than nothing so you can, use it to position yourself. But its sole purpose is to help you automatically reload your gun instantly. It also makes a good combo for Fan the Hammer, especially when you're trying to take out tanks. You can Fan the Hammer, combat roll into headshots or something like that. This ability is quite helpful for it helps McCree deal quick burst damage and help you finish the enemies off quicker. So make sure you take advantage of this ability sometimes. In a game like Overwatch where every second counts, using this ability could really make a difference. Now, the second common mistake I see McCree players make is playing too aggressive or too passive. Even an experienced McCree player like myself, I seem to always make this mistake all the time. McCree is a mid-range hit scan, which means there is a certain position he works best at. Playing too close and aggressive in the front line can really be hard for McCree since he don't have many ways to defend himself or have any option to escape. And playing too passive will not help you get anything done since he have damage fall off. When it comes to playing McCree, it's best to find a spot where you are safe and can secure kills for your team. Now, the third common mistake I see McCree players make is always going for headshots. And I understand why. Headshot does double the damage and it can finish the enemy off quicker. But it's better to land your shots than not being able to at all. I'll tell you this, just because you can't land constant headshots does not mean you're not a good McCree at all. I don't know why, but there is some sort of a stigma when it comes to playing McCree, which if you don't land headshots, you're a bad McCree. If you flash into Fan the Hammer, you're a bad McCree. That is all false. I'm a top 500 McCree player that don't like constantly landing headshots because it's hard on console, and I Fan the Hammer when I stun somebody because it's easier. All I want is the kill and I really don't care the style of it. I have the positioning, target prioritizing, tracking, and the knowledge of what it takes to win games. That is all what matters to me. Now, let us talk about the flash to headshot combo. Sometimes going for headshot is a mistake, because sometimes it won't kill the opponent at all, and they have time to escape. And that is why I personally don't trust this combo all the time, because it can be really unreliable sometimes. The fourth common mistake I see McCree players make is not switching off when being countered. Every hero in Overwatch have weaknesses, and sometimes people will choose a character that counters you sometimes. If that's happening, it's very important to switch off McCree and play someone that is suited for that situation. Now, McCree does not do very well against a dive comp or against multiple mobile heroes. And this is because he can get overwhelmed very easily. For example, if the enemy comp is going with a Tracer, Genji, with the D.EADEYE, and Winston, it's going to be very hard for you to focus one target at a time, and good luck if they're all coming after you all at once. Trust me, I had this happen to me all the time, and sometimes I was too stubborn to switch. Just because I was a top 500 McCree, I thought I could do anything, but nope, it's all about playing smart. So if you notice you're being countered, make sure you switch off to counter them, otherwise you are the problem for why your team is struggling. The fifth common mistake I see McCree players make is not dealing damage to enemy barriers. This is one common mistake I see most often, and it kinda bugs me how some McCrees are not willing to help out the team as well. As a DPS, you don't just get kills, you also have to deal a lot of overall damage, which includes enemy barriers as well. It might not seem important or just a waste of time, but trust me, taking down barriers together will send a message to the enemy team to not play as aggressive. Here are some examples of why you should always shoot enemy barriers. Dealing damage to Reinhardt's shield will prevent him to push and initiate. This is true because when Reinhardt's shield cracks, he becomes less confident, and when it completely breaks, he becomes useless. Same goes with Orisa. Her shield might be annoying and it seems like it never ends, but taking down her shield together with your team will cause her to be less confident and make her play less aggressive. Now for Winston Bubble. As a McCree, you are able to take the barrier almost by yourself. With the Fan the Hammer ability, you can make the shield crack and use the combat roll to reload your gun and then fire a few shots to completely take the barrier down. Taking down the Winston bubble very quickly is very important because this allows your team to punish the Winston before his jump ability is off cooldown. It's best to start taking the bubble down the moment he plants his barrier, and this also goes for the rest of the team as well. The healers, tanks should be able to help as well. The sixth common mistake I see McCree players make is not using Deadeye effectively. I've seen so many McCrees in every rank make this common mistake all the time. Let me start off by saying that McCree's ultimate is one of the hardest ultimates to land, which makes sense because you have so many obstacles in your way. You have to make sure the barriers are down, watch out for Roadhog's hook, make sure you don't get killed by snipers, D.Va's at a mech, and you are at a safe position, you know, all things like that. When using McCree's ultimate, you have many strategies to consider. Are you going to be creating the opening? In other words, are you going to make sure that you have the opportunity to use your ultimate? Again, making sure all the barriers are down, etc. The second strategy that you must consider is to use your ultimate when the opening is presented to you. What I mean by this is, for example, your teammate is helping you create the opening within Reinhardt Earthshatter or Zarya Graviton to make your job easier. You know, the opportunity is right in front of you kind of situation. Third is using the ultimate to zone the enemy team away from the point or payload. This sometimes works, especially in overtime, but this just sometimes depends on the situation. The last strategy is holding your ultimate to counter a specific character. For example, what I usually do is save my Deadeye for Mercy's Valkyrie and make sure she's high in the air, so that you have more seconds to lock her down and kill her. If you ever think about solo ulting somebody, Tekken and Mercy in Valkyrie is the best and important use of your ultimate because it stops the enemy's big push and stops her from rezzing any more people. This gives you a huge chance to win the team fight. To wrap this topic up, if you really want to get use of your ultimate, make sure it follows one of these 4 strategies for a nice effective Deadeye ultimate. The 7th common mistake I see McCree players make is not using Flashbang effectively. Now, McCree's Flashbang is probably one of the most important special abilities in Overwatch because it allows you to stun your opponent and potentially get you a free kill. However, it could also be used to stop enemies' abilities and ultimates. Now, the mistake I see most often is that some McCree players don't use this Flashbang ability to its full potential, such as stopping abilities like Roadhog's Breather, Reinhardt's Charge, and most abilities in Overwatch. It also allows you to stop enemies' ultimates like Roadhog's Whole Hog, McCree's Deadeye, Pharah Barrage, and Reaper's Death Blossom. Canceling their ultimates can be a huge game changer because they can save your entire team. You see, there's so many things you could use Flashbang for. With that being said, make sure you use the Flashbang ability in more situations than just using it as a free kill tool. Sometimes stopping an enemy abilities and ultimates is a better choice than waiting to get a free kill with it. The 8th common mistake I see McCree players make is having poor positioning. Now, positioning is one of the most important factors in Overwatch because it determines so much about the flow of action, especially in a team-based game. This concept might sound simple, but in a game like Overwatch where every match is different, positioning will change so much. Now, McCree is a real ideal character to show positioning off, because if you have bad positioning with McCree, it puts you in a very difficult situation that he really can't do much about. Now, I kinda understand why it's easy to badly position with him sometimes, because he works well in close to mid-range combat. Sometimes I play a little too close so that I can get a free kill with my Flashbang, and not worry about damage fall off. But just be aware that you're putting yourself in more risk that way. Now, the most important question is, how do we have good positioning? Well, the first rule of positioning is knowing your character effective range. Knowing your range is crucial to having good positioning, because in every engagement, you want to force enemy to fight at your range. Your survivability will increase exponentially. Now, it's obvious that McCree does really well in the high ground, so make sure you take advantage of that. I also like to think McCree as a sideline, backline, and in the pocket of your team kind of character, because this way it does not put too much attention to yourself. Make sure you play safe and secure while always getting kills with McCree. The 9th common mistake I see McCree players make is not prioritizing the right targets. This is very common in the lower ranks. Choosing who to kill first can have a massive impact on how your team win team fights. Sometimes it's not just about killing the supports first, but to take out threats that is carrying their team. Understand that every kill is not worth the same. For example, let us say you or your teammate took out a Lucio. It's time to go in, right? Well, the real threats are still alive and can prevent you to actually win the team fight. Let us say that the threats at this time is Bastion with Reinhardt and Orisa as shields. Well, now the priority changed, and instead of the support is Bastion that has to go down first, or the shields first and then Bastion. And while doing that, Mercy has to be killed at the same time, so the team fight is already won. This concept can be very difficult to explain because priority changes within every game. Sometimes it's the supports, other is the DPS, and sometimes it could be the tanks. But it's very important to understand what needs to get done so that the team fight is easier to win. The 10th common mistake I see McCree players make is failing to protect your healers. Now this job can be very important sometimes because without protecting your healers will die and then your teammates won't be able to get any heals. Your team will lose a team fight before it even begins. I say McCree has the best capabilities to deal with this kind of situation, which is mostly because you can stop flankers using the flashbang ability. Now sometimes facing a Tracer and a Sombra can be very tough because they have the ability to get in and out very quickly. They also flank in the most unexpected times. When this happens, you must assume that they will be there at all times. So what I would do is wait a moment until they appear, then come from behind them and stun them. This tactic always worked for me since the best way to take out any flankers is when they least expect you. Now I'm not asking you to always do this job, but when you see that your healers are being targeted like that, it's important as a McCree to notice that and to step up and take that job. It's the only way for your healers to do their job and the best way for your team to win. And there you guys go, top 10 common mistakes made by McCree players in Overwatch. If I forgot any mistakes out there, because there are many of them, please let me know in the comments down below. If you guys really enjoyed this video, remember to like this video to let me know that you guys would like to see more top 10 videos like this. And subscribe for more Overwatch videos on my channel. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Games, and I'll see you guys next time.